Alright. Hello and welcome to this week's episode of The Contented Narrative. This is the one that is hopefully on time, time zones aside. We're looking at Nation by Terry Pratchett. Again, it is a guest star with Jo. Funnily enough, I'm kind of stuck with her for the foreseeable future. So, this one was picked by Jo. So, I'll let you kick it off.
Do you do the film first? No, it's not a film first.
It's not a film. It's just a book review, sweetie.
I love this book. So this is by Terry Pratchett, but it is not a Discworld series. So if you want to dip your toes into Terry Pratchett's writing, but not go full ham in the weird way that he writes Discworld, which isn't for everyone, even though I love it. Nation's like a nice good half step because it's a little bit out there in the way that he writes it and the descriptions that he gives for everything, but it's not as immersive as Discworld. There's not as much lore to learn or remember, and the plot is just beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. I can't remember what level of spoilers you go into in these.
So we don't tell them the ending, but we discuss we discuss sort of like the plot and the characters and stuff like that.
So the overview of the plot for this one is the Nation is an island in the South Pelagic, which is
that's why I keep her around. I can't.
The Pacific, but not the Pacific, because this is like an alternate version of our reality where the USA, where we are right now, is the reunited states, and most of Europe is just the Russias. And there's a flu that's come up, like a sneezy cold flu, not like a plague. Flying flu, from Russia that has killed not only the King of England but 137 of his heirs, which, you know, it's a bit inconvenient for quite a few people. And the Magna Carta being a laborious tome that it is, you have to step foot on English soil before you can be a monarch.
And it has to be within a certain time frame as well.
Within 9 months.
Yeah.
And the daughter of now the current King of England is stuck on Nation because there was a big old tidal wave that sank a ship, and as well as sinking the ship, it basically washed away everybody that lived on the island. Bar one, who is the guy on the book, whose name is Mal. He was on a canoe rowing his way back from a ritual that his tribe followed, where he leaves his boy soul behind and he rows back, and he's supposed to get his man's soul when he gets there. But halfway back, this big old tidal wave messes his life up. So he's stuck between being a boy and a man on an island where everyone he has ever known in the entire world has been washed away.
I mean, there's a harrowing bit where literally
he is about the bit where he just sort of goes.
Basically, he goes and buries his entire village. Like, well, he doesn't bury them. He puts them at the bottom of the ocean so they can be reborn again as dolphins.
Yes.
But he does the whole, like, children, dogs, mums, dads, aunts, uncles, everybody.
Even a baby pig.
Yeah, a baby. Oh.
Even a baby pig, because he's like, I could eat this because I'm hungry, but I feel like that would be dishonourable because this pig had the same thing happen to it as everybody I love. But he kind of has this out of body experience where Mal the person is like curled up in a corner, not looking, not thinking, not feeling, and just his body has to follow through the actions, and like it turns into like it narrates it from another point of view, but it's also him. Like, I looked into a face that Mal had looked into every day, but I couldn't see it because Mal could not see it.
But it's, I mean,
was heartbreaking.
It is like really well written. The characters are great. What I loved as well is you've got, what is the girl's name?
Ermintrude or Daphne?
Well, I mean, her name's Ermintrude. She hates the name Ermintrude, so she basically calls herself Daphne. And it's her and Mal trying to learn to communicate with each other. And when she first sees Mal, she shoots him. Except the gun isn't working properly, and he thinks she's giving him the gift of fire because it creates a spark. And they become friends, and then because of where they are and because they've got this fire going, they get loads of other stragglers come and join this island.
Yeah, and hits and miss, like people from nearby islands, which obviously had the same tidal wave come and bust them up. And I cannot remember his name, but he's like a priest. of the same religion that Mao's family and tribe followed. And obviously, after all of this, Mao's having a mad crisis of faith, and this priest.
You would do.
And also, he's stuck between having a boy's soul and a man's soul, so he doesn't even know what he's doing, let alone the rest of his world, which just turned
But he's become
down.
chief just by process of elimination.
Yeah.
He's literally the last one there.
And this priest is just like not happy that he's even having a crisis of faith. And they go off on this. They go on a trip by themselves, and Mao ends up saving the priest's life. Not to include any spoilers about what happens while they're out there. But even then, Mao's like, "I will still save your life because that's just the right thing to do."
It's he, like, Mao as well is hearing the voice of the grandfathers.
Oh yeah.
So these voices of the grandfathers, despite the fact that Mao's just lost everybody, is not sure if he's even got a soul because he, it happened between. And he's hearing the voice of the grandfathers being like, "You have to do this, you have to do this, you have to sing this," and he's like, "I don't know what I'm doing."
Yeah.
And then they go to
sing the sacred song. You have to retrieve the
stones.
god anchors. And he's like, "I don't know how to do any of the things you're telling me I have to do." But you know what I found beautiful? Ermintrude/Daphne.
The voice of the grandmothers.
Here's the voice of the grandmother. She is not from this tribe. She's basically just been thrown into this situation. She's learning their language, their culture, their life, and they're learning hers. But she's hearing the grandmothers. And I just think that's beautiful because the grandmothers must be like, "Well, you're it, girl."
Yeah, I mean, you see all these. I mean, I don't want to give away any spoilers, but obviously there is the cannibals. Now, that's not a spoiler because it's literally mentioned throughout the book. But it does sort of, if the survivors are coming, the cannibals must be coming as well. But I mean, it's so lovely because, again, it's not really a spoiler, but Ermintrude/Daphne, as she's learning their ways, realizes, and then they find this cave filled with all this information, and she realizes this information cannot be taken from this island. It needs to stay where it is because this is their history, their life. And it's little things like that you go, that's really sweet, because anybody else would be like, "Do you know what? It's ours now. We're going to transport it back to England." And she's like, "No, this is their history, their life, and everything." And it's just
beautiful.
It's just such a lovely little story between her and Mao, and it doesn't end how you think it ends either. It's so
wholesome.
I mean, even with it starting with basically wiping out an entire nation, it's just, the characters are so fleshed out and so well written. And as you mentioned, it's Terry Pratchett, but it's not Discworld Terry Pratchett, because I like some of the Discworld books. Some of them I'm like, "Do you know what, this is boring me." But this, I could not put down. This, I was like, "Oh my god, I've got to carry on reading."
Yeah, the difference is that most of his descriptions in Discworld are funny.
Yes.
And they're written to be funny. Like, "Oh, this guy can he knows where he is in Amourport by the feel of the cobblestones through his very worn down boots."
And then you've got more death.
And that's designed to make you laugh whilst describing the environment. Whereas this, everything's just written beautifully. You can see it. You can feel it. You can smell the salt air. It's so...
And it's a good look as well at how, you should treat other people. Because, I mean, Ermintrude/Daphne, as we said, tries to shoot Mal at first, and then it's like, "Actually, he wasn't doing anything to me." So then she invites him to tea.
Yeah.
And, he's trying to be polite and eating this scone that she's made with horrible ingredients. And he's like, "This is horrific." But... they start figuring out stick drawings and things, going, "Okay, this is what this means, this is what this means." And it's the fact that she goes, "Hang on a minute, he wasn't trying to do anything, and I tried to shoot at him, so now I'm going to invite him to tea." And then they start forming this tribe again. And it's little things like that, and it's the considerations, because you see it through, I mean, he is only a child, and she's only a child.
Yeah, it really makes me think we should just approach everybody else through their eyes.
Yeah.
With the
after she's trying to shoot them.
After the accidental not shooting thing, with the open heart, open eyes, open mind.
I know it sounds corny, but it genuinely it's
such
true.
a great book.
I mean, we've been approaching all the Americans today with open eyes and hearts and minds.
And open ears, what?
I know. We've been complimented on our accents so many times. But honestly, give this book a read. Borrow it from the library, you know, buy it on Kindle, buy it, I mean, I've got hardback, so this is why we've used Joe's version, because it's paperback and easier to travel over to America. But 100% I would say give it a read. And I mean, as always, if you do agree or disagree with anything that we say, if there's anything that we've missed, please leave it below in the comments. We don't give away the end of the book reviews because I feel like that's a bit pointless. But please leave it below in the comments if you do read this book and you do enjoy it. And then next week's episodes are back to the normal routine. I will be, unfortunately, back in England, back at work, back at being a normal human adult.
My last question is, Daphne or Mal? Who's your favourite?
Mal.
Mine's Mal.
But yeah, this book gets a 10 out of 10 from me.
Also a 10 out of 10. And I'm really glad you gave it that because I recommended it and I was low-key worried.
Like, honestly. But yeah, 100% I'm Mal. And you tell us who your favourite is. I mean, it might be the priest.
No one's favourite's the priest.
May, if your favourite is the priest,
Pick
you know.
a different channel.
Yeah.
Don't really. Stay subscribed.
Yeah. But you will be alerted whenever new videos come out. And thank you so much for your continued support. And remember to always keep it contento.